With every match, a warrior is born. Step inside the ring. This is the Whip Podcast with your host, devastating Daryl Pace and Deshaun Whipdog Whipple.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Wrestling Heroes and Insiders Podcast, a.k.a. The Whip Show. Yeah, we back with another great edition. You know what it is, Deshaun Whipdog Whipple. And guys, I want to thank everybody for checking out all our episodes. You know, last week, we've had a great show. We had author of the new book, Fire and Blood, about the original Sheik, Brian R. Solomon, former WWE magazine writer. Make sure you go back and check out that episode. Check out our previous episodes. We had Gilbert, John Cena Sr., Super Mex Hernandez, a little bit of everybody. Check that out. And check out our other podcasters, The Coach's Corner. Check that out. Check out Railing with the World Heavyweight Champion. You know what to do. Like, comment, share, tweet, 5-star, whatever you do. Do all that. Do all that. But that's enough about the past. We talk about the present. And right now, I'm going to give you my narrative. Nah, it ain't my narrative. But we are going to control the narrative because I got an amazing superstar on the show today. This guy has been making his rounds through the wrestling world already. And now he's part of the brand new CYN Control Your Narrative with the big man, Adam, Scherr, and ECIII. I want to bring to the Whip Show the Psycho Boy, Fodder. What's going on, man?
Yo, what's going on, man? Thanks for having me.
Man, thank you for coming on, dog. I done had a great time meeting you, so I hope you've been feeling real good. We got a lot of rain here in Detroit right now, so you got to bear with me, dog. If the signal was crazy, deal with your boy.
No worries, man. We getting rain out here in North Carolina right now, too, man. So
okay, that's what's up, man.
A little bit of bad weather everywhere.
I get it. Well, first things first, man. Again, I want to thank you for coming on the show. And fans, I want to let y'all know, I actually met this gentleman down there in Dallas. I actually got the awakening going on back there in the screen, but I met him down in Dallas in Gillies. They were part of WrestleMania weekend doing a great Control Your Narrative show. It went crazy. I even heard stories. It was going so crazy. There was another promotion. They had to send their bartenders over there with y'all because y'all was popping so heavy. You know, that was
rumors.
Rumors. We don't do that type of thing on this show, so don't worry, man. But I want to get into, before we go even to talking about Control Your Narrative, you personally. I'd like to start off with you. How did you even start into the wrestling business? Like, was it growing up watching it with your parents or something? What made you first start the pro wrestling, man? Or liking the wrestling business?
A huge wrestling fan my entire life. I mean, if you ask my parents will tell you that I was obsessed with wrestling. From probably the time I came out of the womb, man. I mean, when I came up watching wrestling, early 90s into the late 90s, I mean, that was like the most boomingest time for professional wrestling, man. So when I was coming up, man, we had WCW, the Monday Night Wars, the Attitude Era. I mean, the whole nine, man. Yeah. I mean, it was just absolutely bananas. I mean, I don't really know anybody from that time period, when I grew up that didn't watch wrestling. It's kind of been a little bit, I'd say, like in a decline now. I mean, I guess, but just because there's just so much other stuff to do. But I mean, when I came up, man, watching wrestling was just like the end all be all to everything, man. So when I was younger, when I was in middle school, my art teacher was a guy named Dustin Massey. And he worked the independents for a long time here in North Carolina. And he was my art teacher.
Wow.
And that's how I got introduced to independent wrestling. So kind of fast forward a couple of years, he actually got me into wrestling school when I was like 16. And I went for a little while. And the people who ran the school eventually found out that he had lied to him and told him that I was 18. And then they told me back until they told me that I couldn't come back until I was 18, just for all the legal reasons and all of that type of jazz, man. So I got off into doing other things, man. And I started doing bodybuilding shows, and then one day I was just in the gym, man, and I saw this this advertisement on TV. It was like, "Do you want to be a professional wrestler?" And I think during that point in time, like I had really mastered the bodybuilding, so like the eating and recovery and all bodybuilding really is just being ultra disciplined.
Yeah.
So working out every day, making sure that you hit your points on your diet, recovery, all of that, man. I mean, it's a 24-hour sport. If you're very serious about bodybuilding. And I think during that time period, this was like late 2019, I just was looking for something different to do, something new to kind of challenge myself. I think I'm one of those people that I need something new to push me.
Right.
And when I saw it, I was like, man, like I always wanted to do it. I was going to do it when I was younger. Like, this is like my lifetime dream. What do I got to lose? I mean, I'm 33, I was 33 years old when I first started training for wrestling. So I'm 35 now. And, in this last like 2 years has just been like a whirlwind for me, man, since I got involved with it. It seems like everything just like happened really fast.
I was going to say, man, I didn't know that, man, that you were 33. It's got to be the great diet, man. I thought you was about 26 out here, bro.
Hey, up, man. Thank you.
That's what's up. Now, you talked about your parents would have said you were obsessed. First of all, before we go there, who was your guy coming up? Who did you really like? And number two, we all go through an era where our parents think, okay, they're going to grow out of wrestling or whatever. So once you went back into it and you still kind of was watching it, was there ever a time they were like, okay, you got to do a real thing. You can't just keep worrying about watching this wrestling stuff on TV.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, dude, like when I went to school, I mean, I didn't care about school at all, man. I mean, all I cared about was professional wrestling. I mean, so, my parents, when I was growing up, we didn't have cable. So I could only watch wrestling one time a week. And that's when WWF Superstars came on Saturday mornings. So I would have to get basically, during that show, they would have like one or two matches. And then the rest of the show would just be like highlights from Monday Night Raw. Right. So that's how I would get my wrestling until I met a friend of mine that I grew up with. And what he used to do is he used to take the VHS tapes and he used to tape Monday Night Raw for me because we didn't have cable, and he would bring it to school on Tuesdays. And then I would watch Raw, and then I could watch like Superstars on Saturdays. And man, dude, I would say like when I was coming up, my favorite wrestler was Shawn Michaels when I was coming up. But as I got older, and you're really studying wrestling, Bret Hart became my favorite wrestler. Okay. For sure. I mean, I think Bret Hart's the best wrestler that ever lived.
Bret, if you hear this, he just gave you your flowers, man. You just heard that, Bret. So if you ever see this, he just gave you your flowers right here, right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's no comparison in terms of like just like the work rate in the matches. When you're young and you're watching wrestling, like it's just wrestling, right? So you're not like paying attention to it. But once you get into the business and you start doing it and you really start studying wrestling, I mean, guys like Bret Hart, Owen Hart, there's Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero. I mean, when you start really getting down to like the technician wrestlers, there's something there to be highlighted and be appreciated.
For sure. And you're definitely right about that, because I grew up in the Superstars era too. And Hogan and Warrior were my guys. But like you said, once you start really understanding a match and how to put together you understand we're a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? But with that,
I just saw somebody post a pic on Instagram from '94, I think, and it was a card layout from a '94 live event, and like the main event was The Undertaker versus The Ultimate Warrior. And when you during that time period, obviously, like if you understand wrestling, you understand what was going on, you would understand why like a guy like The Ultimate Warrior was in the main event. Right. But you see like guys like on the undercard, like Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. I mean, guys that were like just like later down the road were just unbelievable. And you wonder, you know, during that time period, you're like, man, like, you know, it's kind of crazy that those guys were like in the undercard.
So you remember the times when the IC title really was the workers' title. You know what I mean? That was the workers' title, man.
Like, we can go way back. Like, we can talk about like Duke the Dumpster Drozy or like these kind of guys. I mean, like, these are the guys like I came up watching.
Yeah.
You know, King Bull. I mean, there's so many great characters during that time period, man. Repo Man. I mean, it's just, man, dude, there's so many of them.
Yeah. Well, you just talked about in these last 2 years, it's been a whirlwind. And I'm going to tell you, I've been doing some research on you. I just saw you were with Ricky Morton. He said some great things about you, said some great things about him. But like in 2 years, man, many years ago, I was an indie wrestler, and I was at the send tapes in to try to get on the show, man. You guys have an ability to do the internet, send your matches, and be noticed that way. But in 2 years, what do you think made people really just start gravitating to you and giving you these opportunities, man?
So, like me, before I got into wrestling, me and ECIII were actually friends. And like, we were just friends, like kind of like on some workout shit. Like, I keep up with you, you know what I mean? Like, we chat about like working out, diets, like stuff like that. And then like when I got into wrestling, I'd probably been training. I hadn't even had a match at this point. So I'd probably been training like 8 months, and he just randomly hit me up one day and was like, hey, like, this was like right after he got released from WWE. He hit me up and was like, hey man, like, I got this thing going on down in Florida. He was like, you know, would you like to come down and like do it? And I was just like, well, all right. I was like, well, when do you need me there? So this was like on like a Wednesday, and he was like, well, can you be here Saturday? And I was like, all right, man. So like I hopped the flight. I went down there, and I get there, and then all of a sudden I find out like it's going to be like me versus EC3, like in this cinematic wrestling match. So like, you know, I know how to bump and like how to do, you know, how to work some chain holds and things like that. So they're basically kind of walking me through this thing. And like, granted, dude, like I've been training like 8 months. So like, you know, Adam is there. This is when Adam was the Universal Champion. Spud is there, Moose is there. I mean, like, there's all these like TV guys there hanging out, and they're kind of like walking me through it, giving me pointers. And like the agent who was kind of like putting everything together, you know, he's like, all right, man, like, so we're going to do this thing in like one take. Like, you got it? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I guess I got it, you know? And we went out there and we killed it. And I think that moment is what kind of popped it off for me, right? It kind of let me know that like, okay, I got the look, I got the body. What I got to do right now is I got to put in the time in the ring to get better at actually wrestling. And once I kind of saw, you know, what it was like to do something on that level that got a lot of publicity and, you know, got tons of views, and it was for like a big company, and, you know, they got catering and the setups, all of that type of deal. I think it just kind of sparked something in me that let me know that like, man, like I can probably push this thing really far if I keep going with it. So after that, like I was training like 3-4 days a week. And I got introduced to Lodi from WCW, and he started helping train me up along with the original guy, Eddie McCoy, who was training me. And then when we did they brought me back down to do the Free the Narrative one. And that was the one with Moose and Cardona and Matt Sydal and all them. And I wrestled John Schuyler in that one. And I'd had a few matches. I was probably wrestling like once a month at one of the local promotions in North Carolina. And then they put me with John Schuyler in the Free the Narrative one. And I think that day was the day that I actually learned, you know, you kind of have like that light bulb moment where it's off, like, oh, like this is what I'm supposed to be doing, right? We put the match together, and man, dude, he walked me through that match and made me look like $1 million, dude. I mean, like I can't say enough good things about John Schuyler. Like, one, he's probably one of the best wrestlers that I've ever been in the ring with. I mean, his wrestling is absolutely unbelievable. But that day, the way he like, and you know, when we do those matches, when we're filming those narrative matches, like they're shot like you're doing the match like a regular match. There's just a lot more cameras there. You know, so like when you're if you're working for TV, right? Like you got the hard cam and then you got like 2 camera guys on the floor and then, you know, you got kind of like an aerial cam.
Yep.
So, you know, you're always working towards the hard cam, but like if you're doing something in the corner or on the ropes or whatever, the guys on the floor will come to you. So, but like when we're doing the narrative, there's so many more cameras. There's like a cameraman in the ring with you. And, you know, so it's getting all those kind of more cinematic presentation to the wrestling. And, you know, we're doing the match like at full speed, and dude, like he walked me through that match step by step by step by step, and I couldn't have forgot anything because like he knew it and was just walking me through the whole thing. He was just talking me right through it. So I mean, I think that day is when I was like, okay, like this is what the wrestling is, and you know, like you start to learn like slowing down, pacing yourself, like not going super fast. You don't have to do a million moves in the match. Like you can tell the story and let all your shit register when you're doing it.
For sure. And I hope you guys are hearing what he's saying. First of all, having a great ring general in there. Listen. I want y'all to understand what this man just said and get your reps in. But with that being said about your reps, that work ethic you have, man. I see what you're doing out there. You're getting a lot of matches in and getting a lot of work, man. What would you tell to the young guy out there that wants to be a wrestler, but they're not taking care of their body? They just see it on TV. They training, but they're not going hard. What would you say to them out there?
Man, just like get in shape. Because being in shape will set you apart from a lot of guys now. Especially on the indie circuit, you know, and that's no knock to anybody. Like people can do whatever they want. It doesn't matter to me. But like when I talk to promoters or I talk to bookers or whatever, like guys are telling me like, dude, like we don't have anybody that looks like you. And you know, part of that is like the tattoos all over the body and all that. But you know, other guys are saying, or bookers that I talk to, they're like, man, like you look like a wrestler. So your overall presentation is very, very important. Like, you know, how you look matters. I mean, and that's why you see guys like look at like Moose. Like Moose got an incredible shape, right? Like the guy who does my diet does Moose's diet, does ECIII's diet, does Bobby Roode's diet, does Tommaso Ciampa's diet, he does Apollo's diet, Elias or Ezekiel now is his diet.
Yeah.
So I mean, and if you notice, like if you look at these guys, like all of them got in like tremendous shape.
Absolutely.
And it immediately set them apart because you could listen to people like on reviews and podcasts, and I do a lot, you know, listen to different things, you know, where people go like, man, like this guy's in unbelievable shape now. You know, I mean, like, you know, Tommaso got just
rip,
like
rip.
You know? So how you look is very important, man, because like your look is selling you pretty much. I mean, it's you know, if the guy in the front row is telling his kid, man, I can kick this guy's ass. Then there's the when you're suspending belief, like it's gone. It like if he's telling his kid that. You know, so like if you don't look any different than the guy in the front row, and don't get me wrong, like every wrestler is not supposed to look like a bodybuilder. Right. You know what I mean? There's a place for all different types of body, you know, all different body types in wrestling. You know, that's what makes wrestling unique and creative is you know, you have all these different characters with different body types. But, you know, I mean, you definitely want to at least be an athlete, man. You know, at least, you know, be able to carry yourself where you're in shape and people say like, man, like this guy, you know, he takes his craft really serious.
For sure. This man is dropping gems. So I hope y'all catching all these gems that he's dropping today. But I want to talk into the actual control your narrative. Like I said, before I had even went to Gillies in Dallas, I had already followed it, been watching it and everything. it was a different concept of the world of pro wrestling. When he brought that idea of, like the rules with the no suicide dives and no super kicks, and I'm gonna tell you, when I saw your Detroit show in Harpo's, and guys, you out there, make sure you get to go to Control Your Narrative show. The shows are great, but it was, even that was storytelling, man. So when he brought the different concept of pro wrestling to you, were you like, man, I don't know about this. This is a little too different, or are you like, you know what, EC, let's go 3. We got this, dog.
Dude, I'm open to anything, like in terms of like ideas, or like how can we make this different? What kind of stories can we do to make things unique? And I think that's kind of what builds a brand. I mean, like when wrestling changed in the late 90s, like when you saw like WWF, when they were transitioning from, the characters like the Doink the Clowns and like all that to like the D-Generation X and everything, there was a large part of the audience that didn't accept that, that said like the wrestling is too, like, well, what were they calling it then? Like raunchy television. And, you know what I mean? They're saying like the wrestling is like too out of control and there's too many like sex references and all of that. And it's like, you have to try stuff to see if it works. I mean, maybe it doesn't work. Maybe it blows up. Maybe it does work. Maybe it's the golden goose. I mean, who knows, right? But unless you try, you just don't know. And I think that trying something different, like with where you're saying like, there's, no super kicks and, no tope suicidas and no Canadian destroyers and things like that. Like, that's not a knock if people do it. It's just something different to set off, to set what they're doing aside from everybody else. Yeah. So I in a way, like, it forces you, like, all those moves are super cool, right? Like, dude, I don't do tope suicidas because, like, I just have like a crazy fear of like hitting the ropes and like diving through and like landing on my head, man. Yeah. I mean, that's just me. I mean, I'm like, I look at the guys who do that stuff and I'm just like, man, like that stuff is just unbelievable. Moonsaulting off the top on the outside. I mean, like you saw, like when Flip hit the moonsault on us, like off the stage at Harpo's, right? Yep. I'm like, man, like, dude, like Flip is unbelievable, man. Like some of that stuff he does, like I could never do it because, one, I have like a crazy fear of heights. Okay. So like you probably will rarely ever see me come off the top rope with anything, man. Maybe a Randy Savage elbow drop, but like you probably won't see me come off the top rope with very much. But all of that stuff is super cool. But I think, it's a good way to enhance your creativity, right? Like when you go into an environment and like you can't use moves that you would normally use, yeah, right? So now you're forced to kind of think like, okay, like, well, how could we get into that spot and tell that same story without that move? So, and I think it allows for like cool stuff where if you're feuding or you're building a story, like Ricky Morton does the Canadian Destroyer, right? But so like, how cool would it be like if we were having a show, and I'm just spitballing with you, right? But like, how cool would it be like if we were doing a show and he just like randomly did a run-in and hit it on somebody, right? It's different. So right, like it kind of sets it up. People are like, oh man, like he hit the band move on somebody, yeah. It can set things up and it can make things exciting when you have those kind of things in place.
For sure, man. It's funny you said that. I don't even watch to say it because I don't know if they haven't seen it. I'm gonna just tell you guys, make sure you get the Pro Wrestling TV app on Roku. Go back and watch the Awakening Dallas. There's something that kind of happened similar to what you're talking about in one of the matches. I'm not gonna say it because I want people to watch it, but something similar. A story was told with you guys' storyline. But that's another thing, man. Like, you are now part of a traveling pro wrestling organization, man. Like, internally, how do you feel? Like, are you really like, man, are you in the mode of I really understand how big this is and how big it can be? Or are you still kind of at a leveled state?
Man, it's kind of weird. I think that when everything is moving so fast, it's very hard to register it all, right? Like we shot narrative 2, and then it seemed like after narrative 2 came out, I started to get booked a lot more, and like everybody was booking me as the character, my gimmick off the narrative, which is Psycho Boy Fodder, right? And I started doing a lot more matches, and during that time period I was like really building up my experience. So like, and me and ECIII are boys, and like he hit me up one day, he was like, yo man, he's like, we're planning this thing at Ring of Honor, he was like, I want to include you in it because you've been down with me since day one, doing this stuff. And then I got the call one day and was like, man, like, this thing at Ring of Honor is definitely happening, and that's when we did the run-in at Final Battle at the pay-per-view, where me and Weston and Adam and EC3 came in and just kind of cleaned house, kind of did it like, 96 NWO style, and like right after that is when I got contacted by AEW to come do some of the darks. So it was just like, it's all happening like back to back. It's like boom, 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 boom. And you don't really like, sometimes like I'll sit and I'll go like, man, like I can't believe I'm doing all this stuff,
Yeah.
But it's very hard, like when you're in the moment and you're doing it, to, I think, comprehend what you're doing on some level, because it's just all happening so fast. So like in 1 month we did, like, I worked an indie show, and then we did the Ring of Honor run-in, and then the next week I did AEW, and then the next week I wrestled Ricky Morton on an indie show. So it was just like bing, 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 bing. And it's just, it's like so many things coming at you so fast, and you're just trying to process it all. But it's hard to process it all when it's just, you're looking at the calendar going like, man, I got this, I got this, I got this, I got this, I got this. And then when we started talking about doing the live shows, so like I did like an indie show at the beginning of December, and then we did the run-in at Ring of Honor. I wrestled Ricky Morton, and then I did AEW, and I had like a week off. And then me and Weston worked at an indie show, and then me and Moose worked at another indie show, and then 2 weeks later, me and Woods worked at another indie show, and then we were starting up the Control Your Narrative shows right after that. So it was like, it's just a whirlwind, man.
Well, I'm glad you touched on that, because that segues into our next segment. But before I bring it up, I got to tell you, you don't do a whole lot of talking in the ring, but I don't know why, because you can talk, man. You have a great mouthpiece. Like, man, this is awesome, dog.
I don't cut a lot of promos because, like, I think like more like the Psycho Boy deal is like, the Psycho Boy is kind of like EC3's like henchman. You know what I mean?
Right.
Luckily for me, I've kind of been able to kind of like branch out and kind of like make the Psycho Boy Fodder character like my own thing, like in terms of like just like getting bookings and, doing my thing. But a lot of times, like at the indie shows, like you're not cutting a lot of promos. So like, I think promos is probably something I got to really work on. Like I can talk to you like, and have an interview and, like with my businesses and things like that, and get on the phone and ramble all day long. But I got to work on promos, and, EC3, he's like killer with the promos. Like he is, so that's probably something I need to sit down with him on and have him work with me on. It's kind of funny though, like, with me and him, like we, like, even though like I'm helping him with like a lot of the stuff, like with the Control Your Narrative stuff and all that, like we hardly ever talk about wrestling.
Seriously?
Like, yeah, man. Like it's very rare that we ever talk about wrestling. I mean, like, we talk about like business stuff and different ideas or whatever, but like the actual wrestling itself, like we hardly ever talk about wrestling. Like every blue moon, I might have him watch a match and tell me like, yo, tell me what's wrong with this. And he'll say, oh, like, you know, you could do this or you could do this. But it isn't like, oh, it sucks. It's just more like little things, right? Like, I might tell you like, oh, okay, man, like when you cut him off there, you know, slide back in the ring quicker and really put the boots to him and show that you're really, really pissed, you know. But it's not anything like, oh, you look horrible when you're doing clotheslines or anything like that. You know, it's just like nitpicky stuff.
Right. I get it. Well, I want to go on to the next segment. And this segment is called the mark out moment. Now, this segment means, and it's not about, oh my God, I'm going crazy. But even when you're in the business, there's a moment all of us have had where whether you're in the locker room or something, you're hanging with somebody, you're like, and you're not fanboying out, but you're like, damn, I can't believe I'm kicking it with, or I'm in this situation. So what was one time that you really stopped and in your own head was like, damn, I can't believe this. What was your mark out moment?
Man, honestly, I don't know that I wouldn't call them like mark out moments. I would call them like kind of like surreal moments, right? Like, so Lodi, you know, he helped train me up a bunch, and you know, Lodi helped train Arn's kid, Brock.
Okay.
And during that summer when they were really training him up a ton, you know, I was going down there quite a bit and, you know, wrestling with him and doing everything. And a lot of times like Arn would just be in there hanging out and we would be in there doing stuff. And, you know, he would just be giving us like, dude, it was just like, it would be like 4 or 5 guys in there. And like Lodi, Arn, Brock, me, and maybe like 2 other guys. And we'd be in there like training and, you know, it's just like, man, like, you know, there's Arn Anderson, like, you know, 4 Horsemen, like he's in here, like, just kicking it with me, telling me, you know, how to wrestle, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I don't think I've ever got like, oh my God, like, I can't believe it's, you know, this person or that person. But like, you have those moments, like when you're like riding back on like a 2-hour drive. Cause like Lodi's spot is like 2.5 hours from where I live. So I would drive like 2.5 hours down there to go train with him.
Okay.
And it's like, you kind of tripping like on the ride home, like, man, dude, like I was just like hanging out with like an Arn Anderson, like, and it was just like no big deal, you know.
For sure.
So I guess like, you know, just different things like that, you know what I mean, are really cool. Like Ricky Morton was like another one, you know, like I'll tell you kind of like a funny story about Ricky. I'm pulling in, so I first met Ricky. I'm a big wrestling like collector. Like I collect, like, if you see my office, I don't know if I can turn my video phone around. Let me see here. Again. But like this is my office here.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah. Oh man, I see what you got going on. Fans, if you're listening to the audio, he has Bret Hart pictures, Ric Flair, looks like he has a wrestling belt in there.
Like a 93, this is like a 93 Rumble poster signed by Bret Hart, Razor Ramon. I mean, like everything I have in here is signed.
Okay.
But this is probably like my most killer piece. This is a, dude, you're in Detroit, right? So this is an original WrestleMania 3 poster right
here.
This
is about to be my mark out moment. I went to WrestleMania 3. That's what made me fall in love with wrestling.
so this is an original WrestleMania 3 poster that was from the Pontiac Silverdome.
Wow.
Signed by Mr. Perfect, Ted DiBiase, Macho Man Randy Savage, Ricky Steamboat. I mean, and this is the original WrestleMania 3 program right here from the event.
God. Amazing.
I actually got these, man, I actually got those during COVID from a guy who was like a collector, who was hurting for money. And I just figured it was an investment. Like, you know, I was gonna send it down to have Hogan sign it because Hogan's signature was the only one missing on the WrestleMania 3 poster. And I was talking to brother who runs the beat shop for him. And what he told me is that he said that he only knows of 3 of those posters that are in existence. He said one poster they had that only had Hogan's signature on it that they auctioned off. he said there's another one in a museum in Detroit. And he said there was one more that a guy sent down to the beat shop. And he sent some specific pens that he wanted Hogan to sign them with. And he said when Hogan shook the pen up, it's like one of those like ballpoint, take it up or whatever. He said when he took the cap off of it, the pen exploded.
No.
Over, right?
Oh.
So he told me like the poster that I have, he said, man, that might be like one of the last ones in existence, like anywhere.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
Because he told me, he was like, yo, don't send it. He was like, don't send it down here. He was like, because that's like, he said, dude, that's a one of one, man. He's like, you can't just go get that anywhere. He's like, pretty much everybody that signed it is dead. And he was like, there's not a poster like that with all those signatures on it. So it was kind of just luck of the draw to find something like that, man. Like, and like I said, like I'm a huge collector and like always have been. Like I just, I love wrestling, man. And so it's just crazy, man. Like with Ricky, I'm coming into the event, right? So like me and him are booked to wrestle each other. So I'm coming into the event and like my car's coming in and he's pulling out. So I pull up and I roll down the window and he rolls down his window and I'm like, hey, this is the first time we ever met. I'm like, hey, me and you gonna do a dance tonight? And he goes, as long as you don't fucking hurt me. And then pulls the fucking car off on my ass, man. And after that, me and him were like fucking best friends, man. I mean, his son, Kerry, is awesome, man. I mean, Ricky has been probably, man, in terms of like just the amount of help that he's given me, the advice that he's given me, just everything that he's done for me. I mean, it's been just unbelievable, man. Like, I never expected to meet him and for us to kind of hit it off the way we did. And then like, dude, I mean, like, it's insane. Like sometimes you think about it, and you're just like, man, like, dude, like Ricky Morton's like texting me, you know what I mean? Like I used to watch Ricky when I was like a kid, and like me and his son are super tight now, you know what I mean? So it's just, life is a wild roller coaster.
That it is, man. That it is. Well, shit, man, when you talked earlier about how you guys did the Ring of Honor invasion and everything at Final Battle, so one thing about
okay, they're right in front of me, but
ECIII said before that he wants to collaborate with other promotions. How do you feel about that, man? And the fact that even though you guys are CYN, hey, let's work together to make great pro wrestling, man.
Yeah, why not? I mean, it's like, like, I mean, that's what makes wrestling cool, man. Is like where you can, work with other guys, and that's what like makes the indies cool now. The indies before was like guys just like working the indies trying to make it to like WWE. But now like now that like the big league stars can go work the indies, dude, that's why the indies are popping, because like you can get those matches. Like, man, I want to see, this guy from this promotion wrestle this guy. And like, or like this guy's like super hot on the indies. Like, I wish he would wrestle, I'm just throwing this out there, but like, man, I wish I could see like Jushin Thunder Liger, wrestle Kenny Omega or something like that. You know what I mean? And then like all of a sudden it's on like an indie show. I mean, I know like that's kind of a wild match to put together, but I'm just using just in general. So now you have the opportunity to see that, and it's because like wrestlers are like collabing and like working together, and that's, to me, that's super cool, man. Is if you can take a super hot guy from this promotion and a super hot guy from this promotion, and you can put, egos aside and all of that. Like me, dude, all I ever care about really, man, when I go out is that I just have a good match. I don't really care like if I win or lose, because to me, it's more of like, what does the viewer get to see? Does it really matter if I win or lose? You know what I mean? Or does it matter if we're putting on a killer match and the people watch it and they're intrigued by it. That's the kind of stuff that matters to me.
For sure, man. I'm gonna tell you, you must be looking at my script or something, because you keep segueing into my next segment.
That's
Because
great.
my next segment is called Book Yourself. You just kind of talked about the idea of there's matches out there that can happen now in the independent world that might not have happened before. Since you brought him up, Kenny Omega first wrestled Jericho, I think on that cruise or something, which they ended up taking it to New Japan and all these different things. And it all started from being able to put two people together. But
Right.
if I was to take the Psycho Boy Fodder, and I don't care if it's back in the day, if it's current, or in the future, if you could book yourself in any situation that you like, man, I know I can work with that motherfucker and we can have a ball. You know what I'm saying? Where would you, or how would you, not where would you, but how would you book yourself?
Oh, I mean, being from North Carolina, I mean, it would be me and Matt Hardy. That's the match. I mean, like, there's so many, like, he does like the delete deal, like on the turnbuckles.
Yeah. Like,
there's so many, like, and like, I'm sure you saw, like, when we were in Dallas, like, I do like the spot, like, where brother will give me the buckle and then I'll kind of like do the psycho up, you know what I mean? And then he'll like give me another one and then I'll psycho up again and then he'll give me the next one. I'll stop him and I'll do it to myself. You know what I mean? There's so many cool things that we could do. And dude, he's like from right down the street, man. Like when I was a kid, the Hardys, so like Shane Helms, the Hardy, the guy Dustin Massey was like my art teacher, C.W. Anderson, like all those guys were running hard in North Carolina, like when I was growing up. And what's crazy, Lodi too, man. And like what's crazy, dude, is I have a picture. Remind me to send this to you when we jump off. I have a picture of me and Lodi when I was like 13 at a meet and greet. So this is like nutty, right? It's like, who would have thought that I was meeting him when I was like, 12, 13 years old. And then 20 years later, I would be wrestling him in a match.
Wow.
It's insane, dude. Like, and I didn't even know I had the picture. We found the picture. It was like a bunch of old pictures. So like, there used to be a spot here called King's Bar. And they used to run indie wrestling out of there. And my pops used to take me up there and like, I wasn't 21, but they would get me in so I could watch the wrestling and do all that kind of stuff. And then Laz, who was my art teacher, and he wrestled in TNA for a long time. I don't know if you, he did a lot of spots in TNA. He used to come out to like, he used to wear like the skirt and do like the Britney Spears. He used to come out to the Britney.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah. So Laz was my art teacher.
Okay.
Yeah. So when he was doing the indie thing, like they would get me in, to like the King's Bar, like all the little indie events and everything. And he would take me backstage and like, dude, like that's where I like as a kid, like I met like, C.W. Anderson and Lodi and Shane Helms and Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy and like all these guys. And we found like a envelope with like all these like Polaroid pictures. I'll have to send you some pics of like with me and like Matt Hardy and like, me and Lodi and like just all these different wrestlers, like when I was a kid, like hanging out backstage. So it would be cool. It would be cool for me to like make that come full circle too.
Sweet, man. That's sweet right there. I definitely got to get them pics and I would get them up so everybody else can see them as well, man. But I got to go here. First of all, guys, I told y'all, if y'all haven't already, make sure y'all go to Control Your Narrative. They seem like they're coming all over. So you're going to have your chance to check them out. But at one point, there was people that had a negative connotation about what they thought Control Your Narrative was. I tell people all the time, I've been to the show. I don't know what they thought it was, but I know what it is. What would you say to that vocal minority that might be on the internet that had this, idea what they thought Control Your Narrative was before they even saw it.
It's, you know what, dude, like that is, I think it originated from like this weird Reddit post.
Okay.
And this weird Reddit post, it was saying like, that like control, I mean, and honestly, dude, like if you read this Reddit post, like when I read it, I was literally laughing when I read it because I mean, it's something that was, to me, was so comical that I was like, there's no way anybody could really believe this. But like people took with it and were just running with it. Like they were saying that like Control Your Narrative was funded by Donald Trump and the My Pillow guy. And I was like, well, dude, if it is, I'd like to know, because, you know, you got all these guys over here investing their own money into this stuff. So like, if it is, I mean, I'm sure Donald Trump's got some money. I mean, I'd like to know about it. And it's just silly, right? Like so like people take it and they go crazy on the internet and then they start adding more stuff to it. And then before you know it, it's just out of control. So I think that's where it originated at. And like, dude, like you've been to the shows, it's just wrestling, man. You know, like what does control your narrative mean? It just means take control of your life. Take control of whatever circumstance you're under, right? So like, if you want to be a professional wrestler, man, control your narrative, dude. You know, everything is within your control. You know, if you want to be the best bodybuilder on the planet, well, dude, you got to diet 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you want to be the best wrestler in the world, man, you got to watch film, man. You got to get in the ring. You got to do it. I mean, that's what control your narrative means. I mean, it just means take control of your life. And, you know, if you control your narrative, what is that to do? That is to tell your story, right? So if you're an individual, and let's just say you're a wrestler and you're working for a big company, and you know you got a story and you want to tell it, but maybe they don't let you tell it. You know, maybe they're telling you like, nah, man, like we want you in this position, and you know we like you as this character, and this is what it's going to be when you're here. You know, and those individuals are out of there. Well, you know, once they get out of there, well then, you know, your opportunity to come to control your narrative and tell your story however you want to tell it, right? Everybody's got a story. You know, you got a story, I got a story. I mean, you know, somebody walking down the street right now, they got a story too, right? But you can tell your story with no filter in control your narrative. And that's just what it means to control your narrative. I mean, it's really pretty simple, but people make it so difficult.
Yeah, because I'm gonna tell you, and I'm being totally transparent with you. When I first posted, I was going to the Harpo show. One of my buddies, and he's a big into the internet talking wrestling thing, and he's like, right. Oh my God, you going to that? I can't believe it. I'm like, what do you think they're gonna do, bro? You know what I mean? But it was because of, like you said, that Reddit post, and people take the things way too far. So fans, make sure y'all check it out. I don't know what y'all thought it is, but it ain't that. Get y'all asses there and control your narrative. But with that going on, man, you guys got some big names over there. Besides Adam Scherr, you got Dango over there. You got Weston Blake. You guys got some big. Well, my man that plays Scotty too. How do you got him over there? What's next for Control Your Narrative, man?
Man, so we're doing Orlando again on Saturday. You know, we got the deal with the Pro Wrestling TV where we're going to be releasing all the episodes. And I think like right now we're just trying to get our footing in terms of like, you know, what we're going to do in terms of like how everything's filmed. Is it all going to be filmed the same way? And, you know, there's a lot of logistics to be worked out in terms of how the product is going to be presented. And you saw the post-production on the Dallas show. So like you were at the Dallas show live, and then you saw what it looked like on Pro Wrestling TV, right? So that's a pretty good idea of what, you know, the shows are going to look like going forward, where you have, you know, the entrance with kind of a small narration where the guy's kind of explaining, who the individual is, and then, the match setup. And then, when the match starts, that's when the commentary starts, like actual pro wrestling commentary. And we also have coming up we're collabing with AML, which is a huge promotion here in North Carolina. So we're going to do on July 30th. AML has a division of their wrestling promotion. It's called Future Stars, which is a lot of their up and coming guys. So we're going to do the Future Star show, which is going to be Control Your Narrative versus Future Stars. And the name of the show is going to be The Initiative. So we're going to let some of the guys battle it out on that card. And then the next day is going to be the big extravaganza show where we're filming for Pro Wrestling TV and for the AMLWrestling.com app, where we have Control Your Narrative versus AML. It'll be tons of big matches on that card. They're bringing all their big heavy hitters. We're bringing our heavy hitters, man. And I think we're going to put together like a huge sold out show here in North Carolina for everybody. And then after that, we're trying to position some things where we do Georgia, South Carolina, Virginia. There's so many, Tennessee. There's so many different places that we can go at this point. That are familiar with the brand but haven't seen the brand live.
Right.
And we're going to give them that opportunity too. And like going different places. Like I'd never been to Detroit. I'd never been to Cleveland. I'd never been to Milwaukee. So like I got to see all three of those places in 3 days. And it's cool too, right? Because like you're going to these different places. And, one cool thing about ECIII is that he likes to give talent that's never been discovered. He likes to give them opportunities, and I mean, like, dude, he gave me an opportunity, right?
For sure.
The guy Project X, that wrestles with us, right? I brought EC3 to do a seminar at a wrestling school where I live at. And this guy drove down to the seminar to attend it. Got in the ring. He had a great body. He had a great look. He hadn't been wrestling very long. And when he got in the ring, EC3 was like, man, I think we might can do something with this guy. This is before the live shows. This is before like we even filmed Narrative 2.
Okay.
I think we can do something with this guy. He was like, maybe we'll bring him down. He's like, maybe we bring him down to the taping when we do Narrative 2. Like, cool, man. So we invited him down, and then boom, like look where he's at now.
For sure.
He's getting experience. Obviously he hasn't been wrestling that long, but he's crazy athletic. He's got a great looking body. He's got a great look. All he's really got to do right now is just kind of refine the wrestling, man. And he's going places.
Yeah, for sure. And since you guys working with AML, I want to shout out them. Got two guys that I really love over there. Well, I already know about C.W. Anderson and his Horseman, but take a look at Black This Jack, man. Just saying, take a look at Black This Jack. That's my boy, man.
My boy, yo, that's my boy.
Yeah, that's my dog, man. Take care of my boy over there, man. Take care of my boy.
He got a crazy gimmick, man.
Yeah, oh my God, man. But before we get, go ahead.
But me and him have worked together on a ton of indie shows. He's got it, and I just want to put him over for a second because he's a super cool guy. He's super helpful, super nice, gets in the ring, does what he's supposed to do, man. Overall, great guy. Check him out. Black This Jack. He's the man.
That's a fact, y'all. Black This Jack, check him out. I'm about to go ahead and bring him on the show one day. I haven't yet. I'm about to bring him on the show one day. But before we get out of here, I do want to do one more thing. I know you touched on it already, but I really want you to kind of put these people's head again. With so many different wrestling promotions out there, why should they really give Control Your Narrative a chance?
Man, it's different, man. It's got great talent. The matches are good. I think with anything, right? Everything you got to give them a chance, right? So like if you got a new restaurant in your area, some people say it's good, some people say it's bad. Sometimes you just got to go check it out for yourself. to make that determination, right? And I think that's what everybody should do with everything, like in life. You know, I'm a big fan of, you know how you hear things about people and you never met them. I'm a big fan of, look, man, you can tell me whatever you want about somebody, but until I meet them and until I interact with them, I have no opinion on them. You know what I mean? Like, I like to make my opinion on somebody based on my interaction with them, you know? So like, I've had people like tell me like, oh, like this person's like horrible. And I'm like, well, dude, like that's not the interaction I have.
Right.
Like they seem like they're okay with, you know, okay to me. So, you know, everybody has different interactions with people and they have different experiences with everything that they do. You know, like, you know, I mean, you might like Italian food and I might not like Italian food. I mean, you know, like, I mean, you know, it's just preference.
Yeah.
So as long as people are just willing to give it a try, that's all you could really ask for.
Yeah, for sure. Well, before we get out of here, it's time for that very final segment, and that's called Ring the Bell. Well, Ring the Bell is this. I give you 60 seconds, and you can talk about anything. You can promote yourself. You can talk about what you got coming up. Shit, you can tell me what you ate today on your diet. I don't care. But I want you to look at them people. I want the people to listen. And right now, Psycho Boy Fodder, I'm going to give you 60 seconds. I want you to ring the bell.
Right now, we're ringing the bell. And I'm going to tell you, this morning for breakfast, I had 350 grams of egg whites and 90 grams of cream of rice. Not regular cream of rice. I get my cream of rice from this spot. It's called theflavorgang.com, and it's brownie cream of rice. So it tastes delicious. It tastes like a chocolate brownie. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I got a lot of cool, weird vanity pictures, you know, gym pictures. I got some informational stuff on there, a lot of wrestling stuff on there. It's at LOKEYS 910. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at LOKEYS 910. Look me up on Facebook, Merton Woolard Fitness. AML versus CYN, July 30th. AML versus CYN, July 31st. You can get tickets at amlwrestling.com. Orlando, you can get tickets at controlyournarrative.ticketleap.com for the show this Saturday. Come out. We're going to have a good time. And that's all I got for ringing the bell this time.
Y'all heard it. He gave you all you need. Is right there. Listen up. Oh, by the way, for all the people in the back, you say you got a hell of a collection. I already see it. And I see you know my boy Steve Morin from Great Wrestling Collection. That's my guy too. Dope ass dog. Dope ass guy, man.
He got added to the collection. That's my dog. You know what's crazy, dude? Check this out. Before we get jump off here. So when I moved into my new house, I had all this stuff in a building, and it was like all wrestling stuff, man. I'm talking about like from my childhood, man. So I wanted to sell some of it. And my buddy was telling me, he was like, they got like Facebook groups, like where you can go in and like, you could sell all this stuff. Right. So before I ever started wrestling, that's how me and Steve met. Was I joined his Facebook group, and I was selling like all this like memorabilia stuff in there. And me and him had like talked a couple times like on Facebook, and you know, he was saying, you know, he had this museum and like all this crazy stuff. And bro, I never in a million years thought I would have met him in person. Never in a million years. And that's another experience, right? That it's like you're on Facebook, you're in a group. I'm only in the group selling stuff at that time, you know what I mean? I end up getting into wrestling, and then because of wrestling, I end up meeting this dude, like actually like in person. And he's one of the coolest dudes I've ever met, man.
Facts. Yeah.
Back to Detroit, we all hanging for sure.
Oh, hey, I'm with it, dog. And I'm glad you said that. I want to tell these people out there that's listening in. You guys sit there, y'all argue WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, see what? Stop arguing. Enjoy this business. You are wrestling fans. Enjoy this business. In Dallas, had so many people from around the world got to experience wrestling, like you just said, that you might have never met in your life if it wasn't for this business.
Bro, and you was hanging, right? So like, how many guys did you see in the back from other promotions hanging out? I'm not naming no names.
Right.
How many guys did you see in the back that were from all different promotions?
Yes.
That people get on Twitter and they're like, oh, like, you know, this promotion shouldn't like this promotion. It's like the boys ain't like that though.
At all. Bro, I got a chance when I was down there. After I slid from y'all thing, I ran over to Wale Mania for a second. I'm talking about every promotion was hanging out with Wale, coming on stage, fucking, you know what I'm saying, kicking it together, drinking. I ain't gonna say what else, you know, having fun. You know, support like you're supposed to. Fans, stop that shit, man. Stop that shit.
Let me ask you something real quick.
Go ahead.
Have you, when you were coming up watching wrestling, do you ever remember a time, and I was talking to a buddy about this, I cannot ever remember a time where I watched wrestling and I thought to myself, man, this booking is bad.
Listen, man, listen. Okay, since you talked about your era, I came off from back in the day, WrestleMania 3, 87, but I really was strong during the Monday Night Wars. I'm all about the NWO Hollywood Hogan, but I also love DX. So I'm sitting there watching both of them. I'm watching Mike Tyson, Shawn Michaels, as well as I'm watching Hogan and Dennis Rodman doing their thing. I never in a million years was like, oh my God, I can't. I'm glad you brought that up. I brought Vince Russo on the show one time, and I said, and I told this man, I know how people feel about him, whatever. But I said, man, I don't know how you can deal with looking at that damn internet and the way these people are ready to kill each other over booking, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, it's bananas. I just don't ever remember like watching wrestling and going like, man, they should be pushing this guy. Like, dude, I just would watch wrestling. I just watched it. Like, I never, like, it never crossed my mind. Even when I got older and I knew, you know, what was going on, like, it still never crossed my mind, like, man, like, such and such should be the champion. Like, I just like watch wrestling.
I see people like, talking about, I'm not going to watch this promotion anymore until they give such and such the belt. What? Man, turn your damn TV on and watch the shit, man.
Yeah.
It is so, and I don't even think people realize they are being more of a hindrance to the business than they are helping it grow. You know what I mean? You're sitting there doing all this negative shit because we talked about it, even with that Reddit thing, because of stuff like that, people are so how they are. They'll bite into that negative instead of the positive. Like I said, you guys got amazing matches. You know, these people, let's be honest, they love Titan. They love Adam Scherr when he was in the so give it a shot. What are you talking? So you got me all hyped up now, baby. But I just I get so upset about it, man. I just hate it.
The crazy things people say, right? Like when you hear, and this is the last thing I'll say about it, but like when you hear people, they go like, man, you know, all these guys in this promotion, they suck. And you're going like, well, dude, like all these guys who are in this promotion were just working for like the biggest promotion on the planet. So like they can't suck because like they're working for like the top promotion in the world. So like to me, things like that, they don't make sense on one hand. And then like on the other hand, you just have to kind of write it off and say like, you know, some people are just negative, man.
Yeah.
And they just need something to put out there to try to make themselves feel good.
I literally saw a post earlier today, and I'm in a lot of those Facebook groups on purpose. I can't interact with some of those folks because it just, you know, I'm having fun doing what I'm doing by doing this now, meeting great guys, doing this great podcast. I love it. But it's hard for me to interact because that negative, I'm such a positive energy type of guy. But there was a post saying there are fans that are laughing at some of the injuries that's been going on in some of the promotions right now. Obviously, we just saw what happened with Cody. We see Randy's hurt. We see, you know what I'm saying? Cordona is hurt. And they were literally, and I saw a guy say, they were talking about Cody being hurting his pec. And somebody said, oh, well, what about Big E? Like, what? You're battling, you're arguing and talking about people being injured. Like, that is so crazy to me, bro.
It's right. It's crazy that like people, I mean, the fact that people like that make those kind of crazy arguments about professional wrestling to me, it's insane in itself, right? So like, if you come on the internet and you say like, man, Cody Rhodes left AEW, you know, his pec tear never would have happened if he hadn't have left. Like, dude, people tear their pecs all the time lifting weight. You know, dude, I had some tendonitis in my front delt right here. I went to the chiropractor today, and he's digging in the front area on my delt, and he goes, does that hurt? And I'm like, well, it doesn't hurt. I'm like, but you know, it's tender. And he goes, man, you got tendonitis in your bicep. He said, your bicep's really tight, right? And I said, well, what would happen if I didn't come see you and you fix me up? You know, he'll dig it out and, you know, dry needle it and do all this kind of stuff to help get it right. And he goes, oh man, like, you know, you tear your bicep, you know? So like, you know, I mean, it's more of like, sometimes it's just wear and tear on your body. I mean, like, you know, dude is training in the gym. He's working matches. He's traveling. I mean, he's doing so much stuff. And like, for somebody who's probably doing none of that, to come on and say, oh man, like the pec tear happened because he left the other promotion is silly and it's dumb and it should not be said.
Or to be upset with him. There are people, as you know, that were literally upset with him because he left the promotion. A buddy of mine inboxed me the other day, was like, I can't believe people love him now in the new promotion, but didn't love him. We're booing him. Like, are you serious, bro? Are you
let people do whatever they want. Like,
I couldn't even respond. I was like, you know what? But you know what? Sorry, fans. We did go on a tangent. Don't get it twisted. We love you guys. We love you. You know what I'm saying? We do love you. We need you. We just want you to enjoy the business. Enjoy the business, not hate the business. If you're going to sit there and spend your time to watch these shows that come on every day, you're going to spend your money to go to all these promotions, why would you go somewhere that you don't want to, that you don't like, to talk negative about it?
Well, why watch it at all?
Exactly.
Bro, like, you know, I mean, I don't know. I'm just thinking of like a random show, 90 Day Fiance.
Right.
I don't watch that because I don't like it. So like, I'm not going to watch it and then live tweet about it, about how I don't like it.
And watch 12 weeks of it straight to talk negative about it. That's why I'm not going to say his name, because you might like him, but there's a certain dirt sheet writer that's been doing this thing for many, many years. He's became a millionaire at it. But the way that he says so many negative things about the business, I'm like, you know what I'm talking about, Mr. 5-star. You know what I'm saying? Mr. 5-star rate. And he says, so, I mean,
you know, and it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, like I tell everybody, man, hey man, if that makes you happy, man, have at it. You know what I mean? For somebody like me, man, I'm just going to enjoy wrestling, and I'm just going to do what I do. You know what I mean? I'm not going to let anybody on the internet or anybody that writes for a website or any of that, I'm not going to let them ruin my wrestling experience.
That part right there, y'all. Well, guys, I want to thank y'all for hanging out with us. This has been a great episode, man. I hope y'all got a little bit more about Control Your Narrative, a little bit more about Psycho Boy Fodder, and a little bit more about the world of pro wrestling, man. So you know what to do. Like it, tweet it, share it, check back. He gave you his information, so now you can follow him. He not only can tell you how to wrestle and help you get into wrestling, he also get you right fitness-wise. The man is going to help you out in all types of ways, baby. So you need to rock with him, y'all. But I'm going to get on out of here. You know what it is. I am Deshaun Whip Dog Whipple, and I was here with Psycho Boy Fodder. Make sure y'all go check out the Control Your Narrative shows, man. If you haven't already, go ahead and like their page. Follow them as well so you can stay up to date on everything that they do. And we will see you next time on the Wrestling Heroes and Insiders podcast, a.k.a. The Whip Show. Take care, guys.